All right, we are back for another episode of Mr. King KMK. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Put on your notification bells. We're going to be here at least at the end of every game, if not the next day. All right, come on, roll with us. All right, after last night, we had the Knicks Boston's first game. I guess it, I guess you could just call it Knicks opening fright night because that's what it was. A week before Halloween, we went to Boston. They got their rings. They hung their banner, and then they put it on us. But no need to fret and feel bad because you come across a team that's that hot. I'm talking about everybody clicking, not just Tatum. The whole team hitting like that. You just tip your hat to them because there's nothing you can do. There's no way to stop them. So, kudos to what they did to us. We'll be back. We'll be fine. But we just move on down to the next. But in that game, Boston 132, Knicks 109, and then really that first quarter, Knicks scored 24 in the first quarter. That's a decent average first quarter points. Anytime you get close to 25 points, you're not doing bad in the first quarter. Boston put up 43. The second quarter was pretty much even, and then that third quarter they ran off on us. But we never recovered from Boston having that explosive first quarter. And again, when a team is that hot, you tip your hand to them. Now, there was talk from the announcers that Jalen Brunson and Brown was having like a revenge thing against the NBA for Brown not being selected to USA and then Tatum not getting a whole lot of run. But in any event, they ran it up on us and they did what they had to do for their opening night. And that's it. Okay. And then let's move on to the stats. And as far as we're concerned, nobody was a plus in the plus minus. Um, we had some people do some decent things, but for the most part, other than Deuce, I mean, Brunson had a pretty decent game, but they were on him. They were all over him, making it hard to bring the ball up court, sending the late double team. So they did what they had to do there. Cat, we took them down in the low post, and we took advantage of the mismatch, but not enough. But as far as the overall team, our stats wasn't too bad. I mean, we shot almost 60% going into the third quarter. So any other time you do that, you beat that team. But Boston was shooting close to 73%. So there was just nothing we can do. And when you're talking about their bench with Pritchard and I think his name is Halston, the way they're able to put it up and just, keep the wound bleeding, we just couldn't stop them. But again, we live to fight another day. But as far as Josh Hart, he needs to get it together. And we're going to go over some individual players. But, just from the stat line, who was our big gun was Brunson. Bridges came on later. Nobody else really, other than Deuce, did his thing off the bench. But nobody really shined, and that also hurt us a little bit. But when you're putting together a team we're putting together, it's going to take time for people to gel. Because you remember when Boston put together their big three, and Kevin Garnett's favorite word for the first couple of months of the season is we are work in progress. And that's what we are. And then they got it together. And when they got it together, you couldn't stop them. Same thing when Miami got together with their big three. It took them a while to really get it together and get rolling. But when they did, that was it. You couldn't stop them. Excuse me. So we pretty much in the same boat that those guys was in. When we get rolling, you won't be able to stop us. All right. So in terms of individual players, as we said, Brunson had a really good game. What he finish with? Like almost 30 something points, 23 to 30 something points. I think he might say 22. Seemed like he had more than that. Seemed like I think Brunson had more than that. But he was doing his thing. They couldn't stop him individually, but they would send that late double team, to try to keep him contained. And a few times he got stripped going to the hole because we were indecisive. The next person was Towns. Towns didn't play bad, but we got to solidify, what we're going to do with him. Is it going to be a win by committee or is it going to be a 1-2 punch? We have to get that together. We got to figure that part out. We have time to figure it out. But we brought him here for a reason, and that reason is to get us buckets. OG, OG, he didn't have his typical OG game. He'll find himself in the offense. Right now, we just need his defense to lock that up. And when that gets locked up, then we also know we're going to fare better for that. I mean, he's going to be a lockdown defender, and he's going to be a defender in the clutch. So we need his defense right now more than we need his offense, but we also need it to be more cohesive for him also on the offensive end. Before we get to Bridges, we're going to go to Josh Hart. Josh Hart said coming into the first game, he feels lost. He don't know what his role is out there. But with Josh Hart, we kind of need to understand, I thought he should have went to the bench because all the things that he do, we don't necessarily need it in the starting lineup. You know, that all-purpose player, that Swiss Army knife type of a player, that was good when he was coming off the bench and then when we were limited. But now we have guys that can pick up some of those other roles, you know, like rebounding, playing defense. He's probably third now on our defensive chart, whereas last year he was first and maybe second. So now we have OG and Mikal, so he's not assigned the toughest guard. So he's not going out there with the same type of assignment that he was going out there with last year. But he's a professional and he'll figure it out. Mikal Bridges is the interesting one because we gave up DiVincenzo. We know he can shoot. And the whole thing about his shooting touch and about changing your shot, he has to fix that. He has to abandon whatever he's trying to do and go back to what was working for you. Go back to why we made the trade for you. We made the trade because you've been a sniper in the corners, 60% from the corners. You've been a sniper from three and the mid-range. Everybody in the league know about your mid-range capabilities. So that's the Bridges that we need. He started coming on in the second half. He started figuring it out and he started getting together. And then he started knocking down threes, and then he started driving to the hole, mid-range, and getting to the bucket. So he was giving us points on all three phases, and we know his defense is going to pick up. So it's not a reason for alarm, but the reason is between the coaches and the players, we got to figure out now what's actually going to be everybody's role. Is it going to be a pecking order, or are we just going to move the ball and let the ball find the open man? But we have to figure that part out. And again, it's going to take some time, so it's not like the house is on fire. It's one game, it's one loss. It's a loss that anybody else in the league would have got. Last night, we just caught Boston in the perfect storm. Everybody was draining threes, and it didn't stop. So, you know, again, kudos to them. But again, the Knicks will be all right. Off the bench, now Jericho Sims played a lot of minutes off the bench last night. And a lot of that had to do with Precious being out for a few weeks. He's going to get a whole lot of touches. We know that Hug Porter, he came in at the end. But we know he's going to also probably get some because sometimes we're going to need a big on a big. And Jericho did not do bad. I mean, in the beginning, he had 2 missed fumbles with somebody driving and kicking it to him down low. But for the most part, he held his own on defense. He held his own on the boards. And then he even got some buckets. You know, even making a move to the basket to get a bucket. So we got to be encouraged about what we saw from Jericho. Deuce McBride, can't say enough about what he did last night. Now, again, he could have almost been on Boston's team last night because he was draining threes anywhere he put it up. And it was just that kind of night for him. But we know what kind of lead defender he's going to be on the ball. And we know that towards the middle of last year, he started hitting that jumper consistently. Now he don't got to shoot it like he did last night. That's just too rare. But if he can shoot it on a nice clip, he's going to be an excellent pickup for us as far as being more with the starting lineup guys, having him and Brunson at the same time. Now, interesting enough, Dottier was the first rookie off the bench because me and my partner, we also do a Knicks Morning Coffee show. So check that out. That airs every Monday morning. So please look for us there. But we had kind of like a debate on who was going to be the first rookie to come in the game. I thought it would be Hug Porter because we needed bigs. He was hoping that it would be the guard, you know, it'd be Colin. So it turned out Tibbs ended up going to Dottier early. And I like that, though. I like this. I like the fact that he got his feet wet in the first quarter in a meaningful game with the starting guys. So now he at least knows it won't happen all the time, but now he at least knows this is what I got to go and work on after practice. So we just gave him a nice barrier to compare himself to, and now he had a chance to see. He already see Bridges and OG in practice, so now you've seen firsthand what Tatum and Brown look like. So now you can say, okay, this would have looked like in the trenches. Now when I go to practice on my own, now this is what I got to work on because I like this taste, I like this feeling. I need more of that. So I think Dottie is gonna. I think he's gonna meet that when he's given another extensive opportunity. And then also with our three rookies, when they did get in there, they didn't hurt us. I mean, we were already losing. But had it been a more meaningful game towards the end when they were in there, I kind of liked the way they was moving the ball around. I mean, it's gonna be some days where I think they're gonna get thrown to the fire in a meaningful game, and I could see them holding their own as far as if they don't move the points up. I don't think the points gonna go back because they got a ball player's mentality. And I like that, about our guys. But again, we didn't put this team together for our rookies to carry us this season. We have enough up front. We have enough on the bench, and I pray that the stuff that I've been hearing about Mitch being traded does not happen. Because if we can keep Mitch in the second half of the season, and he can start getting his wind and getting his timing and getting his rhythm and getting all that down, imagine what we're going to have and what we're going to look like going into the playoffs. Now, it's a long season, but we just can't hand this guy away. We can't do it. We got to hold on to this team, and we got to see where it ends up at the end and with enough bullets to put in the gun. We can have the nicest gun in the world, but if we ain't got enough bullets to put in there, then what's that going to be for us? We're going to run into a brick wall, and then what? We could use that defensive presence. And if they have to trade him, it better be for a defensive center that can block shots, clog that middle, and then even get some putbacks. You got to do that because we can't expect to go in this whole season and go down the stretch of the playoffs as Town as our only legit big. It doesn't work that way. We have championship aspirations, and if we want to meet those aspirations, then we have to do solid, smart things. Now, to this point, management has done great. So we're not foreseeing. We don't know where the rumors come from, but we have heard that Mitch was being shot. But I just pray, if you're going to move him, bring back something similar as far as rim protection and return, because we're going to need it. All right? Till next time, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. Peace.